Thomas, how are you? I hear a little bit of echoing going on there, but that's pretty cool. We ended last night with trainer Anthony Farrer in the winner's circle over at Charlestown. That was a lot of fun last night, Tom. What do you think? It's kind of interesting that all that ended just like we end a lot of our shows in the winner's circle. Just great timing.
Yes. Only difference was we didn't have any money on the horse.
Yes, unfortunately we did not. But he went 1 and
Paid
3.
Too. What's 5-2? I think it went off at. Paid $7 something.
It was not the favorite.
Reasonable.
That's for sure. Mm-hmm.
And he interesting comment by Anthony was the using the bug boy, and obviously wanted for the weight, get the weight off too. And with the inside post, it seems a perfect trip for at Charlestown.
Yeah, no, it was a really fun time too. It was a fun show. We talked a lot about horses that are going to be running on Saturday tomorrow at Laurel Park, including 2 that Anthony has running, 1 in race 4 and running in race 7. And I thought that the insights that he gave us to the horse that's running in race 7, albeit it could possibly scratch for an allowance race the following day, I think he said. Yeah. But if it does run, he did mention the horse has had the best 2 weeks training in its career. So maybe you're going to get a decent price on that horse in race number 7. So you might want to check that out at Horse Racing Radar TV on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, Tom, what ought people do?
Well, I hope they've signed up for our channel, because we need a few more subscriptions out there, and take a look at what's going on. We also have other picks and other articles on our website. So it's a nice little wander over there to see what we got going.
Yeah, we cover all sorts of things. We got, like today, we're covering Sha Tin. We have Chris's Kentucky Derby 2022 rankings. He'll have out his Risen Star Stakes. Of course, Terry has his best bet of the day. We post all of our videos over there as well, and we have some guest contributors sometime, which is a lot of fun. People telling us and sharing their stories about the racetrack with us. If that's something you're interested, contact Sean, DM him on Twitter at Horse Race Today, or you can just hit him up on Facebook at the same handle, Facebook Today. Horse Race, the number 2, and Today. So today, speaking of today, we're going to play today, but tomorrow at the Sha Tin in Hong Kong. Thomas, we were there not too long ago, and I didn't have the best day. What about you?
I had one nice one, and the rest of them were head scratchers.
Mm-hmm. It can go that way sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the first race we're going to do, hold on, I'm just going to pull up a picture real quick of Sha Tin. I was getting prepared for everything today and then just forgot to finish one small piece. And hopefully I have that small piece taken care of right about now. And I do. There you go. This is what the course looks like. And it looks to me like do they run the right way, Tom, or they run the wrong way there?
They run clockwise.
So they run the wrong way then.
Yeah. And also what's not on there is an all-weather track on this course too.
Okay.
But we're not covering any. It's just an FYI.
Yeah, it looked to me like we were doing all turf races. So
yeah,
that's what the Sha Tin looks like. It looks like an American track, except they run backwards. At least as far as we're concerned. Maybe we're the ones that run backwards. So race number 1 is the first one we're going to cover. That is the Ambitious Dragon Handicap. It is a 1 mile and a quarter race, and it comes on at exactly midnight tomorrow night, right? So it'll be between Saturday and Sunday morning.
Yep.
Perfect. That's midnight Eastern,
runs
by the
during
way.
The day. Mm-hmm. So it runs during the day. So all those are for us are in the middle of the night. Whereas Happy Valley generally run, you can get, if you don't mind getting up a little early, like about 5 in the morning, you can watch Happy Valley on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're on the West Coast, I mean, this first race is going to be at 9 p.m. on Saturday night. So where we live in the Midwest, it'll be on at 11 o'clock. So we probably catch the first couple, maybe 3 before it's time to go to bed. All right, Thomas, how do you like this first race, the Ambitious Dragon Handicap?
I took number 4, Berlin Tango, as my top choice. Has 20 starts and 2 wins and 7 placings. At this distance, it's got a win and a placing with 4 starts. Not much in its last race. after the layoff, ran 6th, sat back, ran okay. I mean, it was a first race is the best way to describe it. Ran a useful barrier trial at 1,600 meters. It ran 2nd there. It is a Group 3 winner in the past and has won coming off a 2nd time off a layoff. The big reason I like the horse is the jockey switch. It's going to one of the top jocks there in Zach Putin. And that, to me, that's a sign the horse is live. And even in the form wise, I think it's got a good chance here. I'm going to take number 5, Enjoying, as my second choice. 25 starts, 4 wins, and 5 placings. 3 starts at this distance, and it's won once, and it has a placing. It ran 3rd at this level last time out, and it was the front runner. There's a race before this on the form, and a really awful race. But if you look a little closer, it's an all-weather race. So obviously, this horse does not like the all-weather. He's running good enough to win, but I just feel like it's more of a money horse than it is a win horse. Number 1, Charity Go, is my final selection. 44 starts, 5 wins, 12 placings. 7 starts at this distance, is never won, but has 5 placings. It's been really going well in the last couple of races. I mean, it won at this level, and it's run 2nd, and so it's in form. I'm a little concerned about the distance. That it, with that number, 5 placings, not winning, I think it's a better exacta trifecta play than it is a win play.
Likes to hang a little bit, but where you're stopping is where I'm starting, Tom. I have Charity Go on the top. Looks like the horse is getting better, good form, as you mentioned. But in the notes of what I read, and I'll link to the past performances in the comment section over at horseracingtoday.net when we post it. But in the comment section, the commenter posted, the horse possesses a big finish. So I think the big finish works out well at this track. I have number 6 as my second selection. Tien Chi Monster. You think that's about right, Tom? Tien Chi Monster?
Yeah, Tien.
Tanshen? Yeah, we go with that. Tai Chi. Yeah. Anyway, this horse is usually one of those horses that's kind of what I call a light switch horse. When he runs a bad race, he flips the switch and he comes back and he runs a good race. So, and this is another one where I figure that the distance, you were talking about the distance for the one horse. The distance is no problem for this horse. It's run well at the distance before. Again, the track there, I think, is going to be listed as good, Thomas, right? So I looked that up.
Yeah, at this point, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's expected to be good. Whether it ends up there by 36 hours from now is another story. I have number 7, Looking Great. Hopefully it's looking great at the end of the race. Looks like the longer the race, the better for Looking Great. So when he looks out from the stall, he's going to say this is a long one. But the only question is it has not run this far before. But it seems so far that the longer the race, the better the horse does. And then I agree with Tom on Enjoying. The 5 horse is my 4th selection. As you mentioned, he did have the late lead last out, and that was against my top choice, Charity Go. I just don't know that the horse has the stamina to stay up on that front for 1 1/4 miles. Seems to me maybe a tall task for Enjoying. The next race we're going to do is race number 3. What is with these things? I thought I clicked on it already on these cookie things. Race number 3, Thomas, is a 7 furlong race. This one is also a turf race. So let me pull up the time for that one. Got to just fast forward here real quick. Race number, I should have popped forward while you were talking. So race number 3 is going to begin at 1 a.m. Eastern. So that'll be 1 a.m. Eastern Sunday morning. So as you're moving from Saturday to Sunday, not Sunday to Monday, exactly midnight Central, midnight Saturday, and then 10 p.m. out on Terry time. Again, this one is 7 furlongs. How do you stack them up here in the Queen's Silver Jubilee?
Yeah, and it's a Group 1, so these are some of the best horses on the grounds. And I went with number 1, Way Cuckoo. is my top choice. Has 25 starts, 9 wins, and 7 placings. At this distance, it has 7 starts, 5 wins, and 1 placing. It did something good last time out. It beat Golden 60 at a mile. Now it's dropping back in distance. Well, Golden 60 is a darn good horse. I think I think his based on his past performances and his form right now, that this distance is ideal for him. He's a 3-time Group 1 winner, and he's placed twice. Used a barrier trial to tune up, and finished 8th, which means nothing because it's a barrier trial. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he can repeat.
It's Alvin Iverson. Practice? Yeah. We're talking practice?
But he's going to be short price. There's no way that this horse is going off at any kind of odds. I took number 5, Mighty Giant, as my second choice. 18 starts, 7 wins, and 4 placings. At this distance, it has 12 starts, 6 wins, and 4 placings. And he has won a Group 2 race in the past. He's placed, has 1 placing at Group 1 level. It was a hard choice for me to pick for the second horse. So I'm going with this one just because of his reasonable consistency at this distance. I mean, being in the money or winning 10 out of 12 times at this distance. He seems to have some form right now. We'll see how he does in this Group 1 race. Number 4, Wellington, is my final choice. 13 starts, has 7 wins and 1 placing. And at this distance, it's only started once, and it did absolutely nothing. Won its barrier race at 1,200 meters last time out, and he's a Group 1 winner at 1,200 meters. He ran 4th to Skyfield, who's in this race last time out, and avoided the accident that happened and the breakdowns. So if he runs his race, he should be in the money. I think it's a tall order to beat that top horse.
Well, I hope to beat the top horse with number 3, Skyfield. If I look back at the past performances, you see that the horse has run really, really consistently. I think 9 out of the last 10 runs, the horse has finished either 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. So I would put those in the high quality camp. Number 6, Healthy and Happy. There should be a and in there in this horse instead of just Healthy, Happy. This horse, to me, Tom, is going to do one of 2 things. It's either going to win or it's going to run off the board because it's an absolute all or nothing horse. It's run at the distance 5 times, won 3 times, and has done nothing else. So, of course, what do? I put him in second because he wins or does nothing at all, right? So, I agree with you.
He'll run second, right?
Yeah, well, he doesn't run second. He's either going to win or he won't run on the board. But, I list them how I think the probability of winning is, not if I think they're going to run 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Number 1, Why Cuckoo, maybe something like that. As a horse that does like the distance, it's run the distance 5 times, was 4 wins and a 3rd or a placing. But despite that Golden 60 win last time out, Tom, as examining the past performances, this horse kind of goes up and down a little bit. Sometimes it can run a spectacular race, and then sometimes it can run like it has a 210-pound jockey on it named Rich. And then finally, I agree with you on Mighty Giant. So horse, as you mentioned, looks like it's in good form, and I expect it'll continue to be in good form. Classic.
Oh, Rich is.
What happened? Did I disappear?
You're dropping in and out.
I am.
Yeah, you're dropping.
My internet signals doesn't look bad. But anyway, can you hear me now? Verizon, yeah, can you hear me now? The number 5 Mighty Giant is, as Tom mentioned, in good form. I expect that form will continue because this is the classic handicapping angle, the 3rd start off of a layoff. Now, you mentioned going over to the website. There's always good stuff over there, Tom. And one of the things that's there every single day, and because Terry lets me hear about it, is Terry's Hollywood Hayes best bet of the day. If you're doing anything over at Santa Anita later on, you might want to take a look at race 6. Terry has Soy Tapito as his top choice, Holden the Loot as his second choice, and Memo Daddy we should probably name this the best race of the day, not the best bet of the day. But I think Terry, I mean, he's got his numbers down. He's telling me his second place horse is finishing, winning 44% of the time. His first place horse winning 33% of the time. So I would suggest flipping the 4 and the 5 if I were you. It's just based upon the numbers.
Or box it.
Or box it. That'll work too, right? The third race we're going to do today is the Lucky 9 Handicap, and this is in race number 7. You would think that the person who put the program together would have put the Lucky 9 in race number 9, right? But no forethought.
You would think, but they obviously are not thinking the way we are.
Well, this race is going to start at 3:05 a.m. So almost as you're ready to get up on Sunday morning, 3:05 8 a.m. Eastern, 12:05 if you're out on the Pacific Coast. So right as you're about to go out, if you're in Terry land, this one's only 6 furlongs. What do you expect to happen here, Tom?
I'm going with number 5. Gallant Express is my top choice. It has 7 starts, a win, and 3 placings. And at this distance, it has 7 runs, 1 win, and 3 seconds. Most recent was a 4th finish, and it also ran 4th all around the track.
Mm-hmm.
So an even effort, but its prior races are a little better.
Would you say before you move on that this of the races that we looked at, you felt like was the most difficult? Because I did.
I think this one and the 9th race were my 2 big challenges. I just think versus this field, it's going to break through and win. It's certainly been close enough. It just needs that little extra push. It's lightly raced, so if it's got any kind of form, which it appears to, and get some good positioning early, I think it's got a good chance to kick home for the win. Took number 10, Quadruple Double, is my second choice.
It's Tom's basketball game right there.
38 starts, 4 wins, 14 placings. At the distance, it has 24 starts, 4 wins, and 7 placings. Not much in the finish last time out after leading most of the way around. Okay, that's okay. It needed the race. So why pick? It's maybe it looks like it's coming to form. It looks like it's got that winning type of thing. So they used the horse early last time out to get some form in it. I've seen that more times than I care to think about. And then the horse comes back and wins. They may not send it this time. They may just want to sit at a more comfortable place. It does have a good draw. I think that'll help. And I just think it's placing definitely, win very possible.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, 5 Elements is my final choice. 7 starts, has 2 wins and 2 placings, and at this distance has 5 starts and 2 placings. It's its past life, it was a Group 2 winner, and also placed in a Group 2. Its barrier trial ran 3rd at 1,200 meters, and the time was not very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody was going quick in that race. Last 2 races, the running style has been closed up, and then it backs up, and it just looks like it's not getting what it needs to get. So what do? They put Zach Putin on, the top jockey. Why not, right? And let's see what he can get out of this horse. So that's the way I look at it.
Well, I'm going to start a little bit different. Well, I'm going to start exactly where you started with Gallant Express. And before I go through my picks, I'll just explain how I mentioned I interrupted you because that's what I'm good at. Sometimes I'm good at picking horses, but mostly I'm good at interrupting people. This was difficult for me because I go through and I look at the distance and the surface and the track and all that kind of good stuff. And then I start to look through the form to see how they're running. And I wrote down, how many horses in this field? I think there's like 13 or something like that. 13, yes. Yeah. So I had written down 7 of them or 8 of them as potential winners. that's too many, right? Because I can't pick 8 horses. So then I said, okay, what's next? And I looked at the good form and the track form and the distance form, and still I only was able to like cross out one. So then the next level for me is I looked at the times. If they run their best, right? Because that's what you're hoping for, and that's what you hope the trainers got them to do. So I looked at their best possible time for 6 furlongs, and then I just ranked them in order if they run their best times. And if Gallon Express, and with one exception, which we'll get to in the at the end here, but Gallon Express, if it runs its best time in 6 furlongs, you're looking about 109 and 2. So that's the top pick. Number 9 is my second selection. That is Kumasi. If it runs its best 6 furlong time, based upon what it's done already, not counting on any improvement, it would come home in about 109 and 4. So maybe a head behind Gallon Express. Number 4, Ready to Win. It looks like it's ready to win. It would run about a 109 and 8. So probably tail to the nose, right? Type of thing. And this is where it gets tricky, Thomas. You mentioned you like quadruple double, that you felt like he was looking to pop in a race here. Yeah, if you look at his times over the last 3 races, there's been declining form in terms of time. It went from 108 to 109 to 110. And if the horse does run back to 108, like it did 3 races back, this horse finishes at least 5 lengths, at least a length in front of everybody else. If the form continues to decline, which I'm hoping it doesn't, then I would also consider maybe the 2 horse in here, 5 Elements, because it should run about a 110 as well. But that seems to be the peak fast for 5 Elements. So I'm going to go 2. I'm going to go 5, 9, 4, 10, and the 2 as a potential alternative for me. The next race that we're going to talk about is race number 8. This is the Citi Hong Kong Gold Cup. The Citi Hong Kong Gold Cup goes off at 3:35 a.m. Eastern, 2:35 a.m. Central Time. This one is 1 1/4 miles, just like I think the first race was, Tom. So yes. How do you feel like this race is going to play out? Well, and this is one, before I go on, this is the one where Golden 60 gets a chance to get back into the winner's circle after missing out last time out, though it did have a barrier run where I think it won last time.
Yeah, it did have a barrier run. But its record speaks for itself. 21 starts, 19 wins, and 1 placing.
Is that your top pick, or are you going to try to beat it?
Oh yeah, number 2. It's 2 for 2 at this distance. It got beat by a horse running in, as we talked about, another Group 1 in this field, this race, this card.
Somewhere in there. It'll be running in Hong Kong somewhere.
And the most interesting thing I found was the jockey comment after the race was he was too far back with Golden 60 and had too much to do to catch the winner. It's a longer race. Even though this horse has generally been considered a miler, has won at this distance twice, so that's good. And I think they're going to be a little more strategically placing this horse this time around, so it does not have that problem.
It's not going to be in the back trying to make too much.
It just had too much to do, but it flew at the end. I mean, it was a very quick final time on that with this horse. So he's going to run a better race.
So what's he going to go off at, Tom? 3 to 5?
I'm thinking 1 to 5.
1 to 5?
Yeah.
And you got to try to beat him. So if you're going to try to beat him, who are you going to try to beat him with?
Number 11, Zebrowski. Has 20 starts, 5 wins, and 6 placings. Never's won at the distance.
It's a good Chicago name, too.
Yeah. Has 1 placing at this in 2 starts at this distance. He qualifies in my category as the hot horse. He's won the last 2 races. Both were in Group 3s. The times were good. He sits mid-pack. I always like to see that. He makes his move at the top of the stretch and finishes. Has been finishing, obviously, very strongly because he's winning.
Mm-hmm.
Can he beat the top horse? If he runs his race, no. But can he place? Yeah, I think he's in form. And anytime I see a horse like that in form, I like that. He is moving up big time. So you're going to get some odds on this horse. So that's why I like him. 8, Reliable Team is my final selection. 21 starts, has 7 wins and 8 placings. Has 1 win from 4 starts at this distance, but also placed twice. He is a Group 2 winner at this distance. And he's going to be close to the pace. There's no question in my mind about that. It just depends on the position as they hit that top of that stretch and where he is, and if he doesn't get out finished. That's really the key with that horse. And if he seems to have a little form, but again, I don't think he's good enough to beat the top horse.
Well, probably none of them are good enough to beat the top horse, though sometimes, Thomas, seems to me that when you bloody the champ or the bully's nose, sometimes they back up a little bit, right? And they decide to take on a little different tone. So I'm thinking maybe there's a little bit of confidence lost in Golden 60. So I'm going to try to beat it again. And this time I'm going to go with number 5, Sky Darcy. Horses run at the distance one time, took home the checkered flag, which is what you want to see. And then when you look at the horse's efforts across a good track, it's run on it 19 times, managed to finish in the money, 13 of 19. So that's a pretty good work out there. If it doesn't win, well, then, Golden 60, 19 races, 21 races, won 19 of them lifetime. So, I mean, it's really probably even at 1 to 5, according to the lifetime record, 1 to 5 is probably still value.
Yeah.
Number 11, Zabrowski, as I mentioned, a good Chicago name. If you're from Chicago, you'll understand why. Tom pointed out that the horse is in good form. I absolutely agree with him. And the horse has run first, second, or third in 7 of its last 8 races. I think if Webster were to put in its dictionary the definition of good form for horse racing, you might see Zabrowski's name in there on its recent run. And then finally, Tom, this is what I would call it, like one of your type picks, number 2. More than this, it's not a horse that I think is going to win, but man, when you look at the past performances, second, third, fourth, second, that horse is just always there. And as Terry and I call them, Terry calls them Bob Dylan horses because they're always knocking on the door. I call them Denzel Washington horses because Denzel Washington says if you spend enough time in a barbershop, eventually you're going to get a haircut. Well, if you spend enough time close to the winner's circle, eventually you're going to go into it. So maybe more than this can get that done this time around. But still, that record of being close at the end says it's one that you better have on the back end of your exactas, trifectas, and superfectas. And that brings us to our last race of the day, at least for us. There's one more after we're done, but we're going to close out our show and our picks for race number 9. This is the Werther Handicap. This one's going to go off at 4:10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday morning. So from Saturday night to Sunday morning, 1:10 a.m. Eastern out at Terry time. And I think Terry will just be going to sleep for the night at about 1:10 a.m. in the morning. Isn't that right, Terry? This one's only a mile on the main track. I mean, on the turf course. All the races we looked at today were turf. Tom, who's going to
that turf is their main track. So.
Yeah, I always say the main track, it's just the creature of habit. So who's going to bring home our last race, my friend?
Now, see, this one was my toughest race.
Uh-huh.
I toyed with a couple of them, and with a big field like this, and certainly it'll be interesting to say the least. I went with number 5, Prime Minister, as my top choice. 17 starts, has 5 wins and 2 placings. Got 5 starts at this distance, has won twice. He had a barrier race just recently, and he ran 3rd. So a nice little prep. He won 2 races back at this level. The thing with him is he needs a trip because he is going to be dead last. He's going to be 14. He's going to be 15 out of 14. I mean, he's going to be way back. And when he comes like a freight train. So I'm hoping no traffic issues, big wide swing out, and turn him loose.
And down the stretch he comes.
Yeah. So he'll definitely, if he's going to win, it's from the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Pegasus General is my next choice. 6 starts, a win, and 3 placings. Has 2 starts at this distance with a win and placing. First start in Hong Kong was okay. It's a Brazilian horse coming in. It's a Group 1 winner in Brazil. Obviously, the level is a little different here in Hong Kong. But I generally believe that horses need a start in Hong Kong before. Every once in a while, I'll play one, but most of the time I pass on them. And there are a few of those types of horses in these races that are being brought in from France or England or wherever, or New Zealand. And generally, I'll pass on those horses because I think they need a start. This is one who's had a start, and he seems to be placed at the right level. And he ran 7th, but he was closer in the race, so he showed some kick and then backed out. Obviously, he's going to need a trip, inside draw, but I think he's got a chance here, and I think it should get a little better price on him than obviously some of these. Number 7, Infinite Power, is my final choice. 16 starts, 4 wins and a placing. Has 3 starts at this distance and 1 win and 1 placing. Ran 3rd last time out and made almost all the running and held on to get a placing. So it was a good, useful race, I like to say. First out this season, he ran 10th. Kind of same race. He's going to be on the front. He did the same thing. Interestingly enough, he's run both on turf and all weather. So he's got a little versatility to him at this class level. Where my top choice comes from the clouds, this one will be on the front. So it should be an interesting race to see whether this one can hold on, or does my cloud horse pick him up and knock him down.
Or they dead heat. Tom's barbelling the race right here. So I'm going to go with number 3, Crossford, as my top selection. The horse looks like it's in pretty good form right about now. Winner of 2 of 3 at the distance, so we know that it can handle that. And if you look at its record on a good course, it's got a pretty good good footing numbers, which I like to see as well. Number 1, Captain Win, is my second selection. I think you said that Jockey is the best one there, Zach Burton, so I did not know that.
Yeah.
But I expect this one's going to be a heavy favorite. Wouldn't you think that's to be the favorite? Probably. I think the morning line is something like 1-1, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets bet down 4-5, 3-5, something like that, because I think the morning line a lot of times influences bettors, unfortunately, in the wrong way. But if you look, the horse does like to hang late, which is, it gets there, it's close, it just doesn't want to win. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it at a short price. I think if it is a short price, it would be the perfect time to maybe do a Terry Exacta, take your 5 or 6, or maybe all the rest of the field on top of the one horse, and see if maybe you can catch a real nice price, because there are some pretty big underdogs here. I think some of the horses are like 99-1. So if you get a 99-1 to beat the 3-5, you're going to get paid. Number 2 is one that Thomas liked, Pegasus General. I did note that the horse has done very well at in Brazil in Group 1 company. I know that's not the same as you're going to get in Hong Kong, but the horse does seem to like the distance and has run pretty well on a good surface. And as Tom mentioned, he did have a tune-up try at Hong Kong. And then finally, I can't think of a better name to go home on. I mean, we went home last night with the Anthony Ferrier in the winner's circle. So we got to go home tonight, Tom, with something that's fun. And we're going to go home with a Zoom Boom, baby. How about that? Zoom Boom. It's another one of those all or nothing horses, Thomas. I should have maybe put him on in second, since I tend to like to put the all or nothing ones in second. But the horse has run 8 times, won 3 of them. But all 3 of them came in 5 trips across a good course. So Zoom Boom might make your barbell approach kind of meaningless at the end, Tom. If it can put the all in, if it puts the nothing in, then it might be 15 to 14 when the race is over.
Well, we've bet on those horses before.
Yeah, we unfortunately we have, not intentionally.
No.
We're forced to do it. So,
well, we don't try to do that, but sometimes it works out that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, it wasn't our intention, right? I always love people who do that. It's not my intention. It's, life is not about intentions. Life is about outcomes, right? You might intend to screw something up royally, but if it comes out right, it's the output that matters. So, in any case, Thomas, any sense of what we're looking to do next weekend?
No, I actually haven't looked. To be perfectly honest, I haven't taken a look yet. But we're probably going to end up back in Australia.
I seem to do well in Australia, and we seem to have a pretty good Australian following as well. When we do Australian shows, tend to get more people paying attention. I know one thing for sure is tomorrow, Terry and I will be back. We'll be covering at least 5 of the Fairgrounds stakes races, probably all 6 of them. I'm not 100% sure yet. Unfortunately, sometimes daddy's got to be Uber daddy and take everybody. When you live in the city, here's the thing. You only need one car normally. My son just got his driver's license not too long ago, so he takes the car all the time. My daughter hasn't got one because we can walk to Target's like 3 blocks from here. The restaurants and all the stuff around the corner. We could walk over to the grocery store. I mean, pretty much we don't have to drive. So we already needed one car. Now, all of a sudden, everybody needs to be somewhere. And now we need 2 cars, and I have to play Uber Daddy to kind of get them all around. In any case, so Terry and I, when I'm done playing Uber Daddy or in between Uber Daddy, we'll get to Fairgrounds. And then, of course, if you haven't done
paid well to be the Uber guy, but
yeah. Doesn't pay, it costs, Thomas. You're
I know.
There's no such thing. Being paid. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So if you haven't done this yet, when you go over to horseracingtoday.net, kindly do us a favor. Support us by hitting the HRT gear, and then you'll see over here we put together all of the saddlecloth jerseys. I know that Terry's about to get his in the mail any day now. The remaining hats to match the shirt should be up shortly. They're Sasquatch hats. They're very difficult to find, so they're going to be a collector's item when they finally do show up. So head on over there, do us a favor, and support us by getting a t-shirt and a matching hat. Right now, that's only the number 1, but that's the one everybody wants to be anyway. And of course, if you have not done so, please, Tom, what should folks do before they check them out of here today?
Well, number 1, of course, you should subscribe, and because we do need the numbers to help bring those analytics up strongly. And number 2, make sure you check out some of our other picks that we have, especially the last night one, which was very interesting. Mm-hmm. And the other thing to look at is take a look at the website, because there's stuff there that will help you or convince you not to play the horse. It just depends on you, because it's your decision on what you play. It's all about opinion, and your opinion is as good as anybody else's until they run the race. Absolutely,
until they cross that finish line. So one thing I might suggest doing is, and from my experience working and with Sean, Tom, and yourself, Terry and yourself, and bringing guests in the guest segments, you might go through the Horse Center shows and all the previous Players Edge, and just the picks are outdated now. But listen to what some of the jockeys have to say, some of the trainers have to say, some of the on-air talent has to say, because they can give you insights. I can't tell you how many things that I've picked up. Like, for example, Mark Patterson. I never really thought about this before. The commentator from Mountaineer Park says, look, if you're looking at a sprint race, one of the single most important things is to get your horse out of the gate right away, right? Because you lose that half a furlong out of the start, the race can be over. So make sure you pay 100% attention to how they start, the break. And then, because the race tends to go from there. And it's something I never really looked at. I kind of looked at the middle to the end of the race more than just that beginning, because I figured, that just doesn't really mean a whole lot. But I think it does mean a lot. So, and that's just one example of stuff that we've learned along the way. And the list, I could probably talk for 2 hours about the things that we've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of my angles on that is when I see a horse not get out of the gate correctly, I see what if the trainer has a gate work next time, before it starts the next race, because then they obviously saw a problem that they need to correct, and getting it some gate experience can make all the difference, especially in those sprints.
And maybe even equipment change or something, so like some blinkers on or blinkers off, something that you think can maybe help the horse get out of there. And then one other thing that he mentioned, I don't know if it was him or somebody else mentioned it, but you have to, no, it was a book I read. But anyway, one of the things I brought up is that when you're looking through the form, as you're looking at each horse, you have to kind of have a sense, is there a reason I believe this horse can improve in this race versus the last one? And that's something you kind of want to look at as well. All right, Thomas, that wraps up our show for Sha Tin in Hong Kong. I certainly hope that we've picked some winners, Thomas. Hope you have a great weekend. Make sure that
there's some very good racing there. Those 2 Group 1s are top notch.
Yeah, it should be fun. Last time I put all my bets in, went to bed, woke up expecting a pile of cash because the first time I really did well at Sha Tin. So maybe I'm one of those light switch horses, on, off. Maybe this time is the week to be on because I was off last time.
Whatever works.
So Terry and I will be back tomorrow. Then we'll be back on Monday to go through our picks. As always, folks, we hope you have a fantastic weekend. Great picks at wherever you're doing your picks. And may everything, Thomas, end up in the
winner's circle, just like Anthony last night.
Just like Anthony last night. Have a fantastic weekend, folks. See you tomorrow.